better sit down.
Man, I should have took a picture of that.
What is set up, being set up. Thank you all for being here. This is a notice of workshop meeting, July 12th, 2017. Notice is hereby given, and we're going to turn off all the cell phones from vibrate, please. Here given of a workshop of the Board of Directors of the district to be held at 105 Fort Road, Fort Isabel, Texas, on the 12th day of July 2017 at the hour of 4:30 p.m. for consideration of the business of the general oath. The notice is hereby posted at the office of the district on July 7th, 2017 at 1:45 p.m., which means we are compliant in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, such and such number, and a copy furnished to the county clerk in the Cameron County, Texas.
You
I
said
will
such
hereby-
number, you didn't read it down.
Yeah, I did it quickly, you didn't hear it.
Okay.
Daisy got it. I hereby turn the meeting over to Mr. Galvin.
You have to determine the presence of a quorum.
Oh, I'm sorry, for the record, we do have a quorum present, 2 board members absent, Scott Friedman and Jeff Keplinger.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I threw the for you though. I just threw it. Wondered if you'd pick up on
Before I
that.
relinquish and we get started, we're just going to turn this over to San Juana for the presentation. That's your, and you've already, I was going to say, you have the air turned up, it's kind of warm in here. Okay, and you're going to do the presentation from the podium, please. Is there too much stuff for you to take it all up there? But it's difficult for us to follow you from afar.
I don't know why we haven't built mics into that to where we could hear them, because especially Mr. Giggles down there, you can't understand a word he says. Talking about you, yeah.
I couldn't hear it. Can you speak up?
No shit, yes.
Yeah, I know we had mics before for the speakers, but I don't know what happened. We'll look into it.
Where's our IT guy, Mr. Smarty Pants? Where's he at? Why do we have that? I don't know.
On the screen, we have this spreadsheet, and I was not gonna put it on your package because probably was easier for you to see at the screen, but something if you want to just look at the screen or to this page. This is just a comparison of what we all got approved in 2016 versus what we're asking for approval this fiscal year, and just kind of like seeing the whole picture
What am I
of that
looking at?
comparison. You can see all the main expenses by year, and then the biggest difference that you're gonna look into this fiscal year is because we're asking for meter replacement funding, which will come back from the fund balance. So that means that it's money that are being set aside in the bank so far, that it's not restricted money or anything like that. And also the
It's revenue that's already there in the bank.
yeah, that it's available.
As
to
I
use.
referred to at the budget meeting, as old money.
It's all money and it's not restricted because we do have some money that we cannot touch because of the tax bonds and the revenue bonds. That is completely set aside and we're not touching any of that money.
And this
We
million and a
can't.
half is just a guesstimate.
Yes, yes, correct. And also the biggest change from 2016 to this current budget that we are asking for is also the creation of the construction department on the prior year. And now we are increasing personnel due to the need of that same restriction, that extra effort that is putting on the department that people got removed from. So let's say that we created another department, the construction department, with 5 people, but we removed that from different departments. Well, the other departments, I'm noticing that it's critical to have those personnel replaced. I mean, they tried it and they couldn't work because there's also regulations with ECQ that licensed people need to be on time and it's very difficult for their scheduling. So the proposal for this is to continue with the construction department because there's savings involved on the work that they're doing instead of hiring outside contractors. Now it's getting done internally, but there's the need, to replace additional personnel on the department that got removed from. And we're talking about water and wastewater department.
So you took personnel from those departments, created the construction department. And since that time, the manager had come forth and said, wait a minute, we are short because we've had to reallocate.
Right.
Before it was almost, I'm gonna say almost a budget neutral transition from taking existing personnel, creating a construction department. And so, but now you're saying that's not working, so we need to increase the budget this
was
year
gonna
to
be-
replace those people.
Correct.
Is there 5 people? How many people is in the construction department?
5, but we're replacing 3 that considered critical. 2 for wastewater operators, and 1 for water.
5 were pulled away from other departments to create. All right, so that's where we are today. You
Yeah.
have 5, but you're saying you want to replace 3.
Yes.
So that would be an increase back to the other departments?
Correct, yes. And as you can see, the biggest differences are gonna be in the capital and the salaries. So this is kinda like, a comparison what we have used in the past, in the 2016, to, in accordance to what we're asking for this fiscal year. Last year, our budget, it was originally 8,500,000. However, we end up doing an amendment at the end of the year, and the total revenues received was 9,360,000. So that's kind of like an idea of what is it that
Before we
we're
go-
gonna see.
Sorry, guys, I'm just kind of rolling here. Before we go away from the sheet, I'm still back to what you're proposing. You've got the meter replacement, and that's just a number you're plugging in into the budget
Correct.
right now, but that's got nothing to do with an actuality at the time that it's ever decided which route to go.
It's kind
It's
of like.
just, and then the capital outlay is gonna be covering what, other,
Today, we're gonna present what is it that they need.
okay,
based
I
on
won't
what we have
waste time on that.
discussed. Yes,
And then you're talking about salaries, the salaries increases wholly in,
$250,000.
yeah, quarterly, wholly is,
Yes.
well, no, that was last
Like
year.
100 and something thousand, yeah.
Last year, but now they're looking at, 70-some thousand
Yes.
increase to put those people back into the departments where they were robbed from. I understand.
Okay, so in your small package that we have in there, the first page, the proposed budget for the 17-19.
See, I never read these on the first day. If they can't get them before there, I just don't
That
do it.
the expenses that we're trying to appropriate or confirm to get approved, that we're gonna spend this coming year is 10,750,000.
What is the projected revenue?
9.3.
9.3?
935. But in the budget process, they're showing 10.7.
Never was a dollar they couldn't spend.
Well, right, so that's money that's there that they're gonna allocate towards meters or whatever else. But it's gotta be shown in the budget as a revenue, and that's where I was having difficulty wrapping my head around old money, new money. That's my term.
The only purpose of putting it together, to see the reduction is so you can rest assured that whatever we're spending is covered in the original amount on the general level. So that means that at the end of the year, we shouldn't go into any spending over that amount. Because that's the amount inflation is right now.
Where did the, $1,680,000 come from? You said it's other funding. Was that from a bond, or was that extra revenue generated over the years that carried forward?
From
That
what?
carried forward.
Yes.
So this is a policy balance that carried forth from revenues in previous years that's now being allocated or identified into the current year.
Right, it gets assigned, to certain projects. That's why it's closed.
It was increase
Yes.
from water and sewer.
Yes, and that, with taking into consideration that once, hopefully we have new meters, we should be hopefully better than that.
That's a whole different
And
conversation.
hopefully, yes, and hopefully less operation expenses, that's another way of saying.
That's gonna be the sales pitch. You shouldn't get bogged down in here at this time.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get, just to see, just so you can see that the 9,035,000 that we have in there, that's gonna be our base for everything else that we're gonna be looking for department.
And that is less than, I'm looking for, okay, what, last year we were,
Revenue, it was 9,360,000.
that was 15, 16, so, yes, so that 15 and 16 last year.
Say thank you,
16,
Whitey.
17 is still unknown, but we're on current, okay, the current budget is, million five, 18.5, 8.5, and right now we're running 6, still on track.
Yes, so track, we already need the 80% out of the 75% here.
Okay, what I'm still going back and looking at between 16, let's go to 15 and 17. There was 15, it was 9.3, but it was reduced budget to 8.5 from 17 this fiscal year.
Yeah, because we have 3 more months pending, we haven't completed the whole year.
Well, no, that's the current budget, right? It's not,
The current is, yes.
it's the current
16,
budget.
17.
But we started with 8.2.
It's not the actual is 6.99, 0.99, that's the actual. But the actual budget was 8.5,
On the
16 and 17.
yeah, we are gonna.
What I'm looking-
Budget amendment tonight.
What I'm looking at is the actual from 15 and 16 was 9.3.
The actual.
And
yes.
now 16 and 17, the budget was 8.5, so it was less this budget year than the previous budget year.
It started with 8.2, and then, we made an amendment, and that's when we made a transfer over to use that money available.
All I'm doing is get back to, in my mind, wrapping around, in 15, 16, it was 9.3. The budget, even with the amendments for 16 and 17, is 8.5. The proposed budget for 17 and 18 is 10.7.
Okay, 2016, 17, we have not amended just yet, based on this report.
And what will it be, how much would actually, be proposed?
For this year, it's 9,035,000 for this year. And last year, when you're seeing on the 8,546,000, it's because it has not been amended just yet. We are gonna amend, hopefully, we're gonna propose
Okay, so
amendment tonight.
you're proposing the
Yes, that's where I'm
9,035,000, so actually we're only going up from 8.5 to 9,035,000.
Yes.
So
It's kind of.
Another $500,000.
We don't wanna go too high because we don't know.
Okay, that's all I was trying to clarify is, so really you're looking at a $500,000 increase in revenue
Correct.
for next year. I'm with you now, thank you.
You say thank you, Whitey.
Thank you, Whitey.
Uh-huh.
On the expenditure side, we saw it on the budget committee, and I don't know if you all wanna look into each one of the departments, or just wanna look into the capital outlay, because that's the one that's not represented in the purchases for this year. So,
Where was that 60,000 that was for chemicals, and what department was that? Wastewater?
wastewater,
That
we
we-
put it 5,000 instead of the, yes.
So that
You
was-
can look into, Department 8, and that change.
And chemical, expense chemical.
So it's 85,000 instead of the 60,000 extra that, we had, the consideration at the beginning. So they requested, 80, from 80 to 85.
Did you ever figure out what happened there? Why have we had an additional 60,000?
I don't know, I heard in my notes that, they have requested 60,000, but we met twice. We did the budget amendment. I met, with the managers on, June the 12th and on June 26th, and then we met on the budget committee. So, I guess
I get it, I'm glad you caught it, but, you didn't catch it. Jeff was the one who already brought it up. We had 5 minutes to kind of wrap our head around it and say, well, that's pretty glaring, what's going on? Okay, that's my comment there.
right. And, the rest of the departments don't have like a major impact or anything like that. But what I would like to do to look at very closely is on the food sector, the capital outlay request, because that's where the managers might get out here, because they wanna ask for approval, on some money. There's this page here on this reminder,
The original,
the one,
Okay.
the one that I put in.
Oh, I never look at those.
okay, all right,
This one will be one.
this one,
Yes.
the one we got earlier,
The one we got tonight,
another one,
I never look at those.
proposed capital outlay.
The capital outlay, the one that says
All right.
capital outlay, the request for this year, it came out to 2,371,125. So based on,
Wait, let me explain a little bit to the board. When the budget committee met, we were discussing this, and they were going through the things, they were talking about the capital outlay, the things that needed to be done. And they were whittled down, they've been whittled down severely, 2 years I've been involved with this. And so we were looking at it, a conversation, and Jeff brought it up, says, what, Noe, your truck, how old is, the trucks you're changing, some of these trucks that, you're dealing with a 2002. And so it was suggested that, some money be put in there for at least one truck. There's some things in here, capital outlay, that we're dealing with some really ratty equipment. And we just got to address it, so if I'm correct, that's what this sales pitch, that's your sales pitch now, is to explain the board. At that time,
I've got a 2002 truck, I'll drive to Alaska in the morning if we just change the oil and put new tires on it.
yeah, but you're not gonna go take and fix our water pump plant, we gotta make sure.
Mr. Perez, the maintenance manager took some pictures of those units. I don't know if you wanna take a look at it.
I wanna finish what I was saying. We requested that time that when it came to the board, that there would be some justification or some more information on these units, just not
I mean,
that
I don't
I
get-
have an old unit, but we said, what's it costing to maintain these old trucks, and some of that information of what we're dealing with, justify some expense other than just being questioned. conversation we were having there, and we got kind of in the weeds with some of these individual trucks and some of these tractors and equipment. But there's some real serious issues with the vacuum truck, for example, that's a real problem. And, that's what you're presenting to us now, the backup material for this equipment that's just costing us more to maintain than it is to swap it off.
Exactly, like on the last meeting, what Jeff mentioned is to look for some money to cover that vacuum truck, and that's $370,000. So what I did is if we put $112,000 from infrastructure for the revenue that are coming from infrastructure, we should be able to cover the $370,000 vacuum truck that is needed for all the departments because all the departments use it. And if we could cover, based on what we discussed last time, this is what we cover. The only thing that I didn't have at that time, I believe, is the payroll system. But, everything is under discussion, nothing is to set on or anything like that. So we may go from the items that we have on the top to the ones that we have on the bottom. But those are the ones that are priority or some sort of issue with compliance. That's why we're putting it there.
And just some more information for the board when, we're looking at this first sheet here. And some of the capital outlay things they're talking about, I'll go down to the end. To my recall, the garage door is at the workshop, and it does not function, does not work. And it's a steam box in there, so originally they had $7,500 proposed for replacement. I called into question, what do you need there? Do you need ventilation? Do you need fancy roll-up door? Do you need barn doors? What do you need to do that? So they've amended that down to $5,000 is an idea. The awning needs some attention, repair for leaks, and they've got some purlins that are pretty structurally unsound anymore, and things like that. So what I'm making note of is here that these were brought to the budget committee. It was discussed. There's been changes in those numbers and adjusted down with that conversation. They gave a little bit back.
The main issue here is both vehicles, the ones that you have on that list, and what I would like to do, that's what I'm presenting here, to go with what we have suggested on that meeting and go for the 558, and by the middle of next year, we should be able to amend next budget meeting, next budget, and then we can cover the rest of the costs, or use some of the infrastructure money.
Amended, assuming that there's added revenue or less expenditures in other areas.
Yes, talking to the manager, but we can also try to see, I'm expecting that next year the electricity and the chemicals should be less, and I'm hoping that this year we also have some fund balance available for that.
And picking the most obvious large item, a vacuum truck, $370,000, that's a guesstimate. That's not really an actual bid, so we don't know what it's going to be, and hopefully it's considerably less.
Yes, the first estimate that
Wouldn't
we got
bet
was
on that.
445, something like that,
Which
so.
was a high dollar bid.
Yeah, we should be able to do some good deal or something like that.
It's okay.
Excuse me, I apologize. I had 5 o'clock for the meeting, my fault. So excuse me. I
You got-
apologize.
You didn't read your itinerary?
Vice Chairman,
Who to the fur has risen?
Secretary.
I apologize.
Please
Okay,
take
so
over the
we've
meeting.
pretty
Shut
much
Doyle up.
run through here. We've kind of gone through there, and they've given us some good descriptions. I was adding a lot from what was discussed in the budget committee. And so right now, we're talking about some capital outlay things that the different departments had requested, but it was really tough. And so at the budget committee, we asked them to go ahead and give us some backup material, and they they give us repair numbers and they get some stuff of what really it's costing. So right now, that's just general information come to us. We'll have time to digest it all later when we're getting into the actual budget part. I made note that there was some reductions in some of the stuff that they had asked for in the budget committee, that, you know, we made note that they're dealing with some trucks that are, need to be replaced. And so we asked them to look at that. Some units are being shared, or vacuum trucks being shared by departments, pull in those revenues to offset the cost. How we can do that, how we can try to justify things. But you might repeat that what we're talking about is, if we got the 558 in the budget, that, you know, a few months you anticipate that, you know, through savings through the departments and hopefully added revenue, we're okay with it. You know, maybe a small budget amendment to make it all happen or not.
Yeah, at this point, what we're doing is we're asking for the approval of capital outlay request of $558,000. If that's covered within the revenue that we're hoping that we're gonna get next year. And if this will cover only that small portion of the $2,300,000 that the departments consider that they need in their areas. However, I can see that there are some things that can also be taken care of with the infrastructure, and some of them also probably working with the managers to prepare funds and stuff like that that is needed. Bottom line is not to leave anything pending that can be an issue with safety regulations or safety, nothing. That is.
Okay, was there anything that's any of the, bear with me guys, I'm sorry, I'm just jumping in here. Is there anything that the I asked the managers that, you know, we really need that's not in here? Well, clearly you have to replace pumps, and, you know, how are you running that hydraulic chainsaw? What equipment? And what would that chainsaw be doing? Tell you what?
AC pipe, it's a concrete pipe.
Right, concrete pipe. So,
Actually, it's asbestos.
Yeah.
It is. Reinforced concrete pipe.
we would have more of a conversation about that later, and I ask now, but I don't want the answers now. I would want to take and see what the alternatives would be to that, because, you know, a hydraulic chainsaw is stuck with the hydraulic power source being that tractor. So is it that most readily available wherever you need it?
Now, it's been the most viable solution. If you have, fuel, gas, when that gets wet, it turns off on it. The hydraulic, on when it gets wet.
Oh, I've got them myself. Not the chainsaw, but I have hydraulic drills, impact wrenches, and all that stuff. It's tough, but it's to a point. You know, it's still got its weaknesses. I'm trying the highlighted stuff what Charles was asking about?
Yeah, like for example, that one, 932,000, that's part of the money that we're not having anymore for operations and maintenance because we have to pay the revenue fund for the projects that, met. So it's getting reduced, our operations and maintenance is yeah, so every year we are, setting aside some amount against the revenue for infrastructure. So that means that even though we're not making like a big investment, at least per month, we're setting aside 40,000, 50,000, depending on the amount of revenue that we're getting. And that goes, specifically for, water infrastructure, sewer infrastructure, repairs, and that's one of the things that, Jeff mentioned, is we do disperse some money from that water infrastructure account to those vehicles that we have. And that's when I told you those numbers, I was able to put the 112 to cover the 500.
Well, that's where he was saying, as I brought up, or I thought that administration is too much of a catch-all for describing these different items, correct? And so that's where it's looking. What about, I'm still staying down there with what Charles was talking about on that, 1,960,000. And my question is, on the current budget here, it's 765,000, and the year-to-date is 1,000,200.
It's because, we have transferred part of the 765,000, we're gonna meet that budget. And then, we spent, some old money that got, transferred last year for water agencies and water infrastructure.
Did that go ahead? Does that take a budget amendment? You
That
just
was
took,
got approved, already.
we've already done.
Yes.
Okay.
We already have that.
Okay. But now you're projecting 1,900,000 for this next year.
For next year.
And that's the same purpose, to go ahead and make the payments necessary at the time, rather than having to do a budget amendment like this year.
Yeah, the 932 payment, the other one is basically for investment for water infrastructure or repair. But that goes into whatever project, and priority needs, go in the maintenance. That is strictly for projects.
Strictly,
Yeah, that's strictly.
I'm a little dubious about transferring that money out, and making it available for projects. No offense, but Charles, whenever you have money available to spend, you spend it. So,
Oh, they never found a dollar they couldn't spend.
Yeah. And it goes by contract.
just make that point.
And assign it depending on the.
Hmm.
So basically, those purchase orders need to be approved.
Well, clearly you're making, we have, I came with one packet for the workshop, and now I have 3 more. So clearly you're making changes as we go. So I ask that you make sure that Mr. Kepler has all of this information and get us this new information as soon as possible, because this ain't my day job.
Um,
Yeah.
Well, seeing you've not rescinded the chair and turned it over to Scott, I'll call you Mr. Chairman. I've been doing this for 4 years, and I told him a long time ago, I thought I told Robert, when you bring me in a change order, a bunch of changes, at the meeting, I'm not even gonna look at it, because I'm not that smart to figure that stuff out within a couple of minutes. You remember that conversation we had? Ma'am, I have not even looked at this. I will look at it tonight, maybe over the weekend. So whatever you have to say in there, I could care less until I get to look at it, because I'm not smart enough to figure it out this quick. Maybe Doyle is.
This is a workshop.
Kind of like kissing a lady's hand.
I get the necessity of the workshops, but clearly with the added stuff we have, and I'm sure there's gonna be some more, we probably need to do another workshop for us to be fully informed before we're ready to actually vote on something like this. Or unless you come back and you say, okay, this is it, board, this is what we're going to go with this packet or the other. At that point, then we need to have this discussion in a workshop environment where we can ask all those questions at that time without having to call any of you up and say, what's this? So this really helps me with the workshop environment to have this interaction. And so hopefully I'll have another workshop whenever you think you're ready to propose this. I guess if anything, this workshop, we're just kind of nodding our heads and saying, okay, this is going in a general right direction. So the suggestion in the budget committee meeting, that's what we suggest. Yeah, I would appreciate that.
I have a question. Oh, well, that $370,000 back truck isn't really a bad shape. I mean, that's 2/3 of that whole budget.
Well, that's a different part, but yeah, right now, the diesel right now, and they give up on right now.
So it's constant problem.
Well, what was.
It's not a wish list deal, it's something that really needs to be.
It was, what we were told in the budget committee was that this particular truck's got a German motor on it that only Stuart Stevenson and McAllen will take care of. You gotta send it over there, so, our German motor or something, so we've got some issues there. And that's when we asked, okay, bring us the numbers or the dollars that it's gonna cost to maintain this, so we can have that information to justify a new expenditure.
It's the main expenditure out of that whole list.
Make a motion to adjourn at this time. We're just yakety yakking.
Yeah, agreed.
That's the usual.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
make a motion to adjourn at this time. We're just rehashing.
It's a workshop, so we,
Okay, so this.
we will resume at 5:30.
Yeah, 5 minutes to get more coffee.
Already did.